What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and this is your stimulus check update and your stimulus package update. Now, I got a question for you. What are the three things that Senators Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, and Pramila Jayapal have in common? Well, number one is that they all have pushed not for just a forced stimulus check, but also monthly reoccurring stimulus checks. Now, number two, they all have said that the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, or the stimulus package that they're getting ready to pass, is too small to include all the provisions that they want to see inside. And number three, they all have wanted to emphasize the fact that, in their opinion, whatever is passed right now in this infrastructure bill, it is merely a down payment of what they believe is to come. That's right. This is your stimulus check update and your stimulus package update. Now, we've got articles rolling out. I'm going to be letting you know the latest as to what they're saying on the infrastructure bill and more stimulus and their push for stimulus checks. Now, in addition to that, we're going to be taking a look at some video footage that came out today from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and his opinions on the status of the infrastructure bill. And I'm going to get you caught up as to everything that's going on right now as of July 19th, 2021. But before we dive in, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you like and appreciate these updates, keeping you up to date on all of these topics, don't forget to just take a quick second to smash that like button. I would appreciate it. Really helps out the channel a lot. And don't forget, leave your comments down below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. And also, if you think this is going to help out other people, be sure to share it out on social media platforms. Really helps out the channel a lot. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and you can come join the viewing community. Come and join the Ram fam. I'll keep you up to date on all this stuff. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest as to what's unfolding right now with the infrastructure bill and more stimulus, and how they're saying that this is just a down payment of what's to come. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and discuss progress on stimulus checks and where we stand with the current stimulus package. Now, for those of you that follow me here on the channel, you probably already saw this morning my update. If you didn't see it, be sure after this video to go check it out, as we heard from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer that they want to have both parts of the infrastructure bill ready this week. That's right. Take a look. We're seeing a lot of articles come out like this. Schumer to push Senate forward on bipartisan infrastructure bill budget resolution this week. So that's both parts. The first bipartisan part, Republican and Democrat support for traditional infrastructure, and also budget resolution for that $3.5 trillion worth of stimulus provisions. So before we dive into all the details of what they're saying to get stimulus checks and a bigger package, let's take a look at what Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had to say today.
Now, let me go to infrastructure. We are really making good progress on our two-track strategy. You can ask my colleagues here. We had a great caucus discussion. Views were discussed, but the unity in our caucus, that we all know that the worst outcome for the American people is for us to do nothing. I think every Democratic senator understands that. And every Democratic, once you understand that, you know that we must have unity. There are lots of members who would want to say, well, if I don't get this, I can't vote for the bill, or if I don't get that. But that can't happen if we're going to help the American people in the boldest, biggest legislation in a very, very long time that helps the middle class. Compare our bill to the Republican bill, their big major foray. Their foray was a tax cut on the very wealthy. Some statistics show the top 1% got 83% of their benefit. Our bill is aimed at the middle class and those struggling to get there in a variety of, in many, many different ways. And I really salute Joe Biden for putting it on the table, and I salute my colleagues for making new additions that they want to put in that bill. The federal government has not made and on the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we're moving forward. We had a report today. We had a report from Kirsten Sinema, and she is optimistic that we can get to the goal that I proposed, that we have legislation ready by Friday. Our infrastructure, we're the largest economy in the world. Our infrastructure is 13th. And so we need to do that. So it's time to rebuild our infrastructure, create millions of good-paying jobs, particularly for those who've been unable to get those jobs, help American families keep up with rising expenses, and deal with the scourge of global warming. which Patty just saw in her state, to hear that it was 115 degrees in Portland, Oregon, must make everybody. No, I know, but you weren't. You were only 106 or something, right?
They were 112, 115.
112, okay. To hear that it was 115 degrees, which I just heard, even in the beautiful, cool, lovely place of Seattle on Puget Sound, sorry for my attempt at poetry, it just should be a warning signal to everyone that we have to act. So, we've all been talking with one another. The Budget Committee will meet tonight. I'm hopeful that we can come up with an agreement.
Well, there you have it. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As we heard him say, they're making good progress on both parts of the infrastructure bill, and he's saying that he's very proud of his Democratic caucus for remaining unified because they don't need people saying, oh, I'm not going to sign it if this isn't included or that's not included. And that's the only way they're going to get it done. And he said not getting it done and not providing anything is the worst thing that they could do. Now, however, as you know, as I mentioned before, they want to get this done this week, and for the second portion, it was proposed to be a $3.5 trillion stimulus package. However, we're hearing that not all the Democrats are unified, that there are some progressives that are saying they would like to see something much, much bigger, and they want to emphasize that in their opinion right now, this is just a down payment. Take a look at this, link in the description below if you'd like to check it out for yourself, and it says, I see this as a down payment. Progressives see room to get more out of the budget package that is short of their goal. And it says Senate Budget Chairman Bernie Sanders and Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal both wanted the top line of the Democrats' sweeping spending plan to be higher. In fact, nearly double the $3.5 trillion framework that was announced Tuesday. And already keep in mind the fact that $3.5 trillion is the largest that we've seen so far. Now it says, the pair had been working behind the scenes and around the clock to ensure that progressive priorities were included in the proposal. We just spoke this morning, we talked the other night, and we talked several days ago, said Jayapal, a Democratic congresswoman from Washington State, she said on Wednesday. We're in very close coordination, she added. Even though the framework that has been announced falls short of what the progressives want, it still sets the stage for the Democrats to pass monumental overhauls, like expanding the child tax credit, broadening medical benefits, and introducing new climate change proposals, making them willing to work within the framework given instead of viewing the deals as a non-starter. But that doesn't mean progressives will stop pushing for more. Jayapal called the framework important movement forward, acknowledging that the deal includes all 5 priorities progressives pushed to be included and key tax increases. But to Jayapal, this deal is just a down payment. It says, I don't want people to think that if we do this package, we are done. So they're saying that this is not going to be the end of it. They want to include more in this and keep in mind the fact that they're going to be passing this through the process of reconciliation, and they get a new one every new fiscal year. So that means come October, November, they could pass another one if they'd like. Now, reading on, it says, as Democrats continue to dig into the details of what is in the Senate budget resolution proposal, Jayapal said Wednesday that her support for the package with a smaller price tag than she initially had hoped depended on how cuts were made. There are different ways to get a lower number, and if the lower number is because some programs are not for a full 10 years, but they are still universal benefits and therefore long enough that Americans get to see what they are getting, that is one thing, versus just cutting something completely. Jayapal also said that she is advocating for the budget resolution to be done first in the House rather than in a tandem with the bipartisan infrastructure deal, as is currently the plan. So progressives, quote, can shape a little bit more of what this looks like. Now, for our caucus, our support is not guaranteed until we see how our priorities fit into the framework, she added. Now, just last month, Jayapal told reporters that it would take $6 to $10 trillion, and that is the highest that we have heard so far, for this package to really do what we needed to do, making clear that the message from progressives was, let's go big, let's go bold. And it is definitely from progressives where we're hearing that push for stimulus checks. Now, you recall that third federal level stimulus check that went out, that cost about $400 billion. Now, in a $3.5 trillion package, that would account for roughly $400 billion, so you still have about $3 trillion left for provisions. But if they went 6 or 10, that is a very small portion of that. So they want to go massive with this. We've even heard of monthly reoccurring checks. So that would be a lot of money, but if you're going that big, you got room for it. Now, reading on, the article says that Sanders, a Vermont independent who caucuses with the Democrats and who was a key to getting this deal over the finish line, was also pushing for the budget resolution to be in the $6 trillion range as recently as Monday. But after the deal was announced last Tuesday night, he quickly reframed the final agreement as a big deal. He said, "This is the most consequential program in modern history of our country." And he said, "It'll impact millions of working class people, and I'm very proud of what we have." Now, Progressive Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, who has been pushing hard for the reconciliation package to include wide-ranging climate change measures, described the deal as a good start. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we now have Ed Markey, Bernie Sanders, and Pramila Jayapal all in here, all of which have proposed monthly reoccurring checks. And it says, "We're facing several interlocking crises, especially a climate crisis. This package is a good start on attacking that, and we've got to keep working hard to get meaningful climate action in the final deal. It's not the overall top line number I wanted, but it's a great first step," Markey said in a statement to CNN on Wednesday. But Sanders and Jayapal both telling their colleagues on a call on Monday that $3.5 trillion would not be enough to cover all of the legislative priorities that they wanted to fit into the package, and has left some progressives frustrated with where the framework landed. This is capitulated by progressives, a progressive lawmaker familiar with the call told on CNN on Tuesday, reacting to the agreed upon number. Now, many in the squad adjacent, will vote no, the lawmakers added, referencing members of the Democratic Party in the progressive wing and making clear that it will be a rocky road of negotiations ahead. So you guys, what we're hearing is that unity that they were talking about, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer in the Democratic caucus, well, it might not be there if they can't get that larger number that they want and more provisions included. And keep in mind the fact that we've heard from President Joe Biden and the White House that has said that pretty much the fourth stimulus check, whether or not we're going to be getting one, well, they're going to be leaving that up to Congress. Also, we've heard that there are 28 lawmakers who want to make sure that stimulus checks are reoccurring in this infrastructure plan. And we've heard, as I mentioned, Bernie Sanders, Ed Markey, Pramila Jayapal, right here, Senator Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren. They pushed President Joe Biden for $2,000 monthly checks. This was a proposal that they released, and here's another one from the House. Tlaib and Jayapal introduced a groundbreaking bill to deliver universal reoccurring payments for pandemic relief. So you guys, we're going to see, but right now what we're hearing is this $3.5 trillion package. They're trying to get this pushed through, but progressives are saying they want a larger package, and they're saying that currently it does not have all the provisions included that they'd like to see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, with that being said, it's very likely that this week we're going to be finding out more about that $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill, the one that's going to be essentially providing more stimulus. Now, we've heard that at the moment it does not have a fourth stimulus check included. However, we've seen in the past that with these stimulus packages, even when they're in bill form ready to be signed into law, at the last moment things could get added in or things could get taken out. So at this time, we're just waiting to see what's going to be included and what's going to make it in at the last moment. Now, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel. Like I said, it's likely we're going to be hearing a lot more on this week, especially if Democrats are trying to have this ready as requested by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And like I said, I'll keep you guys up to date on all this stuff here on the channel so that way you know what's rolling out in this next stimulus package. And also keep in mind, as I mentioned, 2022, they're going to have another reconciliation bill at their disposal. So if they're considering this just a down payment, and let's say they don't get everything included that they want, well, they could also give it another shot here in just a couple months. I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date here on the channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button. I would appreciate it. It just takes a second, really helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time here, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'll keep you up to date on all this stuff. And you can come join the viewing community. Come and join the Ram fam. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. And with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. I'll be sure to catch you in the next video. Remember, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and any random times throughout the day when news breaks. And with that being said, you guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Take care God bless. This is Steve.